Ask questions to build trust. Here's how to do it. Hello again, my name is Alice. I'm an online educator and thank you so much for coming back. I was overwhelmed with all of your responses from my last video talking about human connection, and let's face it, we could always get better at it. So in this video, we will talk about what questions to ask to genuinely establish a better connection. Why is this important? We all need to trust one another, and so asking specific questions to gain trust is key. And if you are an entrepreneur or just someone who's looking to improve their communication skills, this video is for you. Let's get started. So now think about it. When you are at a networking event, what is the first thing someone asks you? What is your name and what do you do? And isn't it overwhelming because you get on the defensive oftentimes like, hey, my name is Alice. I am a CEO or a manager or an engineer. And then all of a sudden you're overwhelmed because you're waiting to see what the person says. Secretly, you want them to accept what you said. Hopefully this person wants to still talk to me after I just made an introduction. And I always thought this was crazy to me. I always wanted to skip these introductions and go straight to the point of like who we are as human beings. When we ask these questions at a networking event, it's completely automatic. So then how do you actually ask the right questions to build trust? Because let's be honest, when you say these questions in the beginning, what is your name and what do you do? It doesn't necessarily lead to trust building, deeper human connection. Questions are powerful because they help us feel safe. So it's very important to establish the right questions. And I've written a few questions down, especially if you're talking to journalists, investors, and engineers. But have you ever listened to these people speak? They always say something like, tell me about the product. How big is the market that you're targeting? Are you seeking investment? They go straight into understanding the products. And I remember when I had a company in London and I was at the London Stock Exchange and I would meet with investors and engineers. And a lot of the times I had 5 common questions that I would ask during the interview because we had a show at the London Stock Exchange. And I would ask, what is it that you love to do? What kind of solution does this product provide? What's in the pipeline? Where are you going in which market? I'm not asking like who you are as a CEO, and I'm not asking for your credentials. I'm just genuinely interested in your work. And I think having these questions that are open-ended and taking attention away from the person and focusing more on what they love to do, which is building this product, is always inspirational, and it leads to deeper connection. And people love to talk about what they're passionate about. And the key here is you always want to have 2 real conversations. If you just ask a yes and no question, like, are you seeking investment? Yes, no. Then you've ended the conversation. But if you ask, what kind of investment do you need in order to build or expand to another market or hire a team? It's an open-ended question. Closed question is, do you like this or is this good? You simply close the door. So you want to keep the questions open-ended. We naturally want to understand information in front of us. So open-ended questions leads us to deeper conversations, and also we get to be imaginative and curious. When we have these conversations, it allows us to feel safer. And when we feel safer in the presence of another, then we want to continue talking to them. I mean, imagine this, if you're a woman and somebody just runs to you in a networking event and asks you all these questions, you back away. On the aspect of curiosity, we want to know more about our environment and the people in it. The question that you may ask is, this is interesting. Can you explain further? What drew you to this line of work? These questions, which are open-ended, help you come up with different possibilities for collaboration, not just deepening the conversation, but collaborating. Maybe you can both work on a project together, which is a lot of fun. Curiosity-driven questions are my favorite. They really do build trust. It's sort of the easiest way to do it. When the trust is established, you can go deeper. And in that moment, people's defenses are down, their guards are down. And I like to ask this question, how did that decision impact you personally? So I take the attention away from the product and I create space for personal discussion. And always we can dive deeper. And when you go deeper, you show the other person you care. You don't just keep the conversation surface level. And I always say, I really appreciate you sharing this with me. It means a lot. Now, appreciation, it creates a stronger connection, which leads to transparency and honesty. Here, drinking my water, my favorite water. I don't know if you've heard of it, Kangen. I love just being energized when I do these videos. When you have established that trust, you also want to ask for feedback. You want to see if you should continue asking those questions. So one of the things I like to say is, I'm asking this question because I want to address your concern, or I'm asking these questions because I want to make sure I understand. Is that okay? You always ask for permission. Sometimes people don't like questions being asked. I remember one time I was with this girl and we were in France, and I asked her a lot of questions about her personal life because I was trying to build a deeper connection. She told me, "You're like a journalist. I don't like you asking so many questions." And I realized she really liked to keep her personal life private. So it didn't go well. But so sometimes you will get those rejections where people simply do not like you asking any questions. Most of the time, they don't mind. As I've mentioned before, you create a space for reciprocity. When you ask questions, that person gets to ask questions back. So when you share your own thoughts and experiences, that person, you're inviting them to share theirs, and that's really cool. The way that you invite reciprocity is when you say, I went through something similar and I found that it didn't work out well for me. I handled it by doing, and you explain your approach. How would you have handled it? So you share how you've solved a problem, and then you're asking them, how would you have done it? Or how did you do it if you were in my situation? That invites appreciation, trust, honesty, and creativity. It's all of that. So now the conversation is flowing, and this is the place you want to be in. You really want to be in this flow of conversation, because then you get to ask better questions, and guess what? You're improving the relationship. And I know that in the beginning, when you're at a networking event, you may or may not establish a relationship, but you've planted a seed in that person's brain, and they're going to remember you that you've asked really good questions. And you want to be remembered because you've created an impression. You want that memory to serve as the foundation for building the relationship. In this process, you start to understand people's boundaries. And what I mean by that is you understand their motivations, their concerns, their fears, and how they handle themselves, and how they would like to be handled, how they like to be respected. So you really get to know about their character and personality. And this is crucial because you're trying to find a match. Can you do business with person? Can you become friends? Can you be in a relationship with this person? You're really trying to understand the values, because we're driven by our values and we're motivated to do certain things based on what we believe in. Questions lead to the most beautiful insights into who we are as human beings. In a way, questions slow us down, and they really can help us understand the heart, mind, and the body. You can really get to know someone at a personal level, which is a beautiful thing. And for example, in London, when I was interviewing everybody, it was really nice that after the interview, people felt heard, they felt safe, they felt connected to me at a deeper level. And in that process, they've also became very happy and excited to come back and being interviewed again and to do business together, which is great. If you have liked this video and you learned something new today, write down in the comments what you learned today and what kind of questions you also like to ask, because this is important for all of us to learn from one another, and this is my hope by creating these videos. In the next video, I'll look into the question, what is human connection? Like actually talk about what is it. I've touched on it briefly in my previous videos, but I'll be exploring more of it in depth. Thank you again for coming here today, and I will see you next one. Do the best that you can every day.